So Susan Speakman is back, and she says, 1 hour, okay, then is the designation of hate crime the first step to controlling thought? It attempts to take into account the ideas, the hate in a perp's head. In many cases, yes, there is hate, racism, bigotry, etc., but who defines what it is that constitutes the hate? I say a crime is a crime is a crime. What say you? I say a crime is a crime is a crime. I say that murdering a gay person is no better or worse, no more vile or less vile than murdering anybody else. The whole definition of hate crime is designed, I don't know whether it's designed by the people that want special treatment for hate crimes like gays. I don't suspect it is. I suspect all of this is part of the gigantic progressive movement to constantly take Americans, not just Americans, human beings, and put them into tribes, because they can then do what they're doing now with Black Lives Matter. They are now, look, Black Lives Matter is pretty simple, really. Black Lives Matter is here because the Democrats cannot win without 80-90% of the black vote. I was distracted by our friend CSR Gifted Actual, who we've often known by different names. He says he'd choose an accretion disk of a black hole, which in fact might be very spectacular to look at, but you wouldn't have any time to look at it because it's immediately fatal. If it was close enough to be the size of the full moon, you'd be dead from the radiation of it before you got a chance to look at it. And in any event, Black Lives Matter, Susan, is designed to get Hillary Clinton or the Democrat elected. The Democrats need huge numbers of blacks to come out because they vote 90% Democrat or higher. And they need women too, but they need blacks. So the black Americans came out strong for Obama in 2008, and it came out strong for him again in 2012. That really upset the apple cart as far as prediction goes. Nobody thought that black America would come out in the same numbers in 12 that they did in 2008, and that's why Romney lost. Because that coalition held together for 12. Hillary is not generating anything like that kind of enthusiasm among blacks, or also against is not generating that kind of enthusiasm among the young. So Black Lives Matter is here for one reason, and that is to convince black America that they're being exterminated by white racist policemen, and that only the Democrats who feel their pain can help them. Any other questions about that? That's it. That's it in a nutshell. They're burning down cities, and they're sending protesters to places like Charlotte to gin up this argument that white policemen are assassinating blacks in large enough numbers as to make blacks think that they have to get out and vote in a Democrat in order to eliminate this plague that doesn't exist. When I say the plague doesn't exist, I'm not saying that there aren't, in fact, unfair shootings of black people by policemen, needless to say, and I'm not saying that there's not racial bias on the part of policemen. I'm not saying that either. What I'm saying is there's one number, and it'd be a nice thing to memorize, I certainly did, and this number destroys all of this racism argument on the part of white policemen. And the number is this. In 2014, there were 6,095 black homicides, and of that 6,095 black homicides, 258 of them were caused by policemen, which is about 4%. So even if you assume that the 4% of the blacks shot by police were completely unjustified, they're certainly not completely unjustified, not all of them, but assume that every single time a policeman shot a black person, it was unjustified, that'd still be 4% of the total black deaths. So if Black Lives really matter to Black Lives Matter, then why aren't we going after the 96% of the deaths? Why are we making a national cause and rioting over 4% when we should be dealing with the 96%? Wouldn't you rather? I mean, look, if you've got a problem and 96% of the problem is over here and 4% of the problem is over here, and you not only do you concentrate on the 4%, you totally ignore the 96%, then there's your answer. And by the way, there's no way for them to escape this answer. It's one of these airtight arguments because it's an airtight argument because it's airtight. When that number comes up in 2014, 6,095 blacks killed, and 258 of them by policemen, even assume that every single one of the police deaths was completely unjustified, which is utter nonsense, it's still 4% of the total black homicides in the country. And that's the end of that. That's not to say, again, that these injustices and abuses don't happen. They do. But they're not the epidemic that the progressives are making them into.